Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is JD. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the different things between me and the other candidates. I've been listening to them, and I've been listening to a lot of things they've been saying. Nothing any of them says is worth voting for. Now, Ron Paul is very close to myself, and I will agree. The difference is he's not realistic either. He thinks you can go out there and do all this, and you can't. As the president, there's only so much you can do. Congress makes treaties, not the president. Congress makes other things, not the president. The president can get things done, can persuade Congress one way or the other, but you can't do the things that Ron Paul says. There's just no way. He can argue the Constitution all he wants in Congress. Unless Congress does something, there's nothing he can do. What did I promise? Look at you all. Ask yourself, what did JD promise? Well, he only promised us really only two things. Only two things. He promised first and foremost to get our voice, all of you, your voice, to Washington, D.C. Congress will hear you. Also to get manufacturing back into this country. That I can do. As president, those are the things I can really do. Now, do we need our tax system overhauled? Yes. Will I push for that? Yes. How's it going to end up? I can't promise you it's going to end up with this system or that system. If you check me out, you see that I prefer a sales tax that everybody pays, and then everybody's entitled to a rebate. Now, that's the way it works, because a middle income, low middle income family, a $1,400 check once a quarter is a lot of money. Very rich person, a $1,400 check isn't even lunch. And people who are poor, a $1,400 check could mean a lot. So that's where it comes into the progression of what you make. Now, what about the illegal aliens? They're entitled to that rebate, but for them to get it, they have to tell us exactly where they are. We go show up with their check and give them part of it. We use to buy their plane ride home and send them home. And the rest we give them. See, so it actually works for everybody. But I didn't say that's the way we're going to go. That's the way I would prefer to go. But, needless to say. Now, you all said I had to belong to a political party. You people out there said, JD, you got to belong to a political party. You insisted on it. So what did I do? I went and looked at all the different political parties. And not a single one had you, the American people, in mind. They had their own political agenda. So what could I do? I can't join something I don't believe in. I can't support something that I don't support. Bottom line is, the Constitutionist political party was born because you demanded it. And you ever read it? Most important line in the whole Constitution is that we will support and defend the Constitution as it is written. Why? Because as it is written is the Constitution. Not the part that I would like and leave out another part. Not the part that I feel it might say and forget the rest. No. As a Constitutionist, Constitutionist, you must support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America as it is written. We do not get the option to decide what we want or not, because the Constitution guarantees you the right that our government will not take over you. That's what the Bill of Rights are for. Now, did any of you bother to join it? There's a page there. You sign on to join. Any of you bother to tell me, JD, I'm a constitutionalist. I'm with you. No. I went and found out what you are all unhappy about. And that's what the Constitution, this party, is written about. It's not written about any one group, any one specific person, any one lobbyist, any one organization. It's written about all of you. And this is the way you can find out for sure. If you read the Constitutionist Party and you say, I agree with most of it, but then you know there's other people involved too. Because if you agree with all of it, then you'd have to be that person. I don't agree with all that the Constitutionalist Party is. At that time, I had several people working with me, and they had ideas, and I talked to you people. And you had ideas. You had desires for what you wanted the government to be. And that's what the Constitutionalist Party is based on. So if you don't agree with all of it, then believe me, it's right. Because if you agree with all of it, something's wrong there. Because the Constitutionalist Party is to preserve the Constitution of the United States, present your voice to the government, and represent every single one of you. Whether you're an extreme conservative or an extreme liberal, it's still there to represent you. I don't agree with all of it either, and I was the one who founded it. It's because it defends and supports the Constitution as it is written. And I have no other choice but to do that. Now, you look at all the parties, candidates. You got a good variety to look at them. You listen to what Obama says. You listen to what Mitt Romney, Nuke, the other guys, all of them. Right down to Ron Paul. And there'll be a few more popping up. They're going to make promises that only Congress can do. How do they plan on doing these? Are they going to hold a gun to the head of Congress? I don't think so. So all I can promise you with this is that we need to overhaul our taxes. And there'll be a strong, very strong push from you, the people, and I, that Congress does that. Remember, it's Congress's responsibility to raise the revenue, not the president's. But we sure can get their eye looking in the right direction. Because it is, our tax programs are so screwed up. Now, what about this Mitt Romney statement? Well, you see, I'm concerned about the poor, and I'm concerned about the rich. We have safety nets for the poor. May need some work on it, but we have it. And the rich have all kinds of safety nets. Most of them come from lobbyist groups. But the middle class has nothing. And there I'm also concerned. I see these groups that send the poor and the handicapped to all these special camps and everything. And I see the rich who send their children to special camps. But yet the middle class, they just hang around in the cities. They hang around in the summertime. Because if they can't afford summer camp, the kids can't go. That's the reason why movies like Sandlot and stuff exist. Because the middle class has to fend for themselves. And I want to ensure that they can do it. The rich, they have their way of doing things. And the poor, we see to it as a nation that they are taken care of. But the middle class, we kind of let flounder. That's wrong. See, my concern is everybody. Every single one of yous. Not one group or the other. Same thing with the different ethnic groups. My concern is everybody. Not the Caucasians, not the Hispanics, not the Asians, not the South Pacific, not the Latin, South American, not the Latinos, not the Spaniards, not the Europeans, not the Germans, not the French, not the English, not the Polynesians, not the Hawaiians, not the Alaskans, not the Eskimos. Not any one group. Every single one of you. Right down to you, the individual. To the little baby that's born, I have strong concerns. To that old man that's 90 years old, I have strong concerns. The country is totally indebted to every one of us. And I'm just going to use the baby and the 90-year-old man for startup. The 90-year-old man has served his life supporting this nation. And we are totally indebted to him or her, the 90-year-old woman. That little born baby is our future. And because of that, we are indebted to that child. So you see, we are, as a nation, are indebted to each and every one of you. And we need to see to it that each and every one of you matter in this nation. That's why I say I will bring each and every one of your voices. You may not think it's possible. Me winning the presidency is not possible. At least not right now. Unless you all decide to do something. But the truth is, we can do it. And if we do, I will guarantee you, each and every one of you, your voices will be brought to Washington. And I will get manufacturing back into this country. As far as Wall Street, that's the stock market. You want to put stock in Wall Street? That's fine. If you don't want to put stock in Wall Street, that's fine. Just understand what Wall Street does is strictly by the stock market. Those who put stock in support it. Those who don't put stock in don't. That's the way it works. But as a nation, we need to work together to ensure that our congressmen and senators aren't tied to Wall Street. Aren't concerned about Wall Street, but concerned about Main Street. I'll be honest with you. I don't care on Wall Street what the American dollar is valued. I don't care. One bit. But on Main Street, I do care what the American dollar is worth. If it can't buy you a decent slice of loaf of bread, if it can't buy you what you consider a fair item for that dollar, then there's something wrong. I don't care what the Japanese think, the Chinese think, the Europeans think, South Americans think about the American dollar. But I do care what you think. And that's why it's your voice that matters. And I told you I'm going to bring manufacturing back into this country. That's one thing I know as the president I can do. I know I'm going to upset Congress, but I can do it. That I know. Now, as far as the other things, I can tell you that defense and education is going to be my priorities. The independence of you, the individuals, and your state's rights to be protected. I've already told you that, Homeland Defense is going to be under the Commandant of the Coast Guard. So there's a lot of things I have told you. You need to go through and check on me. But there's only two things I promised you. One, I will bring your voice to Washington, D.C. and jam it down Congress's throat, if that's what it takes. And two, I will bring manufacturing back into this country. And that I know I can do. Those are the two things I am very positive will be done. We will look at the rest. All in due good time. That's it, people. That's JD. I'm not going to promise you something. I'm not going to tell you a bull story. I'm not going to tell you something that cannot be done. And you are the reasons, not me, you are the reasons the Constitutionist Party exists. Because you demanded it. You wanted it. Read what it's about. It's your party that was made strictly for you. I don't agree with all of it either. But you see, we're all individuals that come together to make the nation. Thank you. This is JD. And that's what JD's about. Each and every one of you. And I will keep my word. That's one thing I have done in my life, and I will not, anytime, for any reason whatsoever, break my word. Thank you. This is JD.